Toilet paper, particularly if perforated, it's one of the great inventions of all time. It isn't pleasant to think about what life would be like without it, is it? But there are issues with the tissues. One such arose in the 1980s when trace amounts of dioxins were found in paper products, including paper towels and toilet paper. The notoriously toxic and potentially carcinogenic dioxins can form when paper is bleached with chlorine. Although the detected amounts were minuscule, paper producers switched to ozone or hydrogen peroxide as bleaching agents. Since these contain no chlorine, they cannot give rise to dioxins. Chlorine dioxide was also introduced as a replacement for elemental chlorine, as it is less likely to form dioxins. No illness was ever traced to toilet paper, but of course that would be impossible since everyone uses it. The concern was more about all the discarded toilet paper, roughly 100 rolls per person per year, that end up in sewage treatment facilities where the paper becomes part of the sludge that remains after treatment. Such sludge may be used as fertilizer so that chemicals in the toilet paper can end up in plants and water systems, and they can come back to haunt us. Because of changes in bleaching methods, dioxin contamination has to a large extent been eliminated. But now another issue has arisen: contamination with perfluoroalkyl substances, the PFAS, those forever chemicals that seem to be forever in the news. Thanks to the extremely sensitive detection equipment, which we now have, we know that a single tissue contains about 2 billionths of a gram of PFAS, an incredibly small amount. Although these chemicals have been associated with low fetal weight, thyroid abnormalities, impaired immune response, and liver problems, it is extremely unlikely that absorption from toilet paper plays any role. Absorption is possible, as a study with worms has shown. When they bury through the soil that's contaminated with PFAS, some of these compounds do end up in their system and can even be converted to a more toxic variety. But even if there is some absorption from toilet paper, the amount that would end up in the bloodstream would in all likelihood be insignificant. But what about the PFAS that end up in the environment from toilet paper use? The world uses some 42 million tons of toilet paper every year, and since 1 gram of tissue has about 4 nanograms of PFAS, that means about 80 kilograms of PFAS end up in the global environment every year. That isn't a whole lot, but since these chemicals build up in the environment and since we have no plans to give up using toilet paper, the total amount in the environment can indeed be significant. Where the PFAS in the toilet paper comes from is somewhat of a mystery. It isn't added on purpose to make the tissue glide more smoothly over our rear. It likely originates in the pulping machinery, where such fluorinated compounds are used as lubricants. That can be changed. Still, in comparison to the PFAS that end up in the environment from food packaging, firefighting foam, and clothing, the contribution from toilet paper is minute. And that's the bottom line. And for today, that is our Cup of Joe.